Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue à l'épisode 3 de Panggul Kendang. Aujourd'hui, conversation avec un compositeur. Nous allons nous entretenir avec Arya Deva Suryanegara, qui est compositeur en résidence avec Giri Kedaton, qui fait sa maîtrise en composition en ce moment à l'Université de Montréal. Pour faciliter l'entrevue, je vais passer à l'anglais dans quelques instants. Mais avant, j'aimerais juste m'adresser à vous qui nous regardez à propos de la série en ce moment. Nous avons déjà 3 épisodes derrière nous. Puis, il y a quelque chose que je me suis rendu compte, et puis moi, avec Arya, avec Laurent qui a fait le premier épisode et toute l'équipe qui m'aide un peu à planifier ces émissions-ci, c'est que c'est beaucoup de travail faire un live stream. C'est plus de travail que je m'attendais. Et on a pris la décision donc de faire des live streams aux 2 semaines pour l'instant, ce qui va nous permettre de prendre un petit peu plus le temps de se préparer et puis de vous donner du contenu plus étoffé, plus préparé, parce que là, on se rend compte que les semaines avancent, puis on se retrouve un peu à la course pour préparer le sujet de la semaine suivante, puis c'est pas ça que je veux. Je veux pas qu'on vous présente des émissions improvisées. Donc, pour faciliter un peu le processus, on va étirer un petit peu, puis on va faire l'émission en 2 semaines plus tôt, puis on verra si ça va bien, puis que vous êtes au rendez-vous, mais peut-être qu'on en fera plus au fur et à mesure. I'm going to repeat this in English, and I'm going to switch to English now, because I know we have a couple of people from outside that might be tuning in specifically for this episode. I just want to repeat briefly what I just said. Basically, we're keeping this show. We're still doing it. This isn't changing. But we've decided to do it every 2 weeks instead of every week, starting. So next week, there won't be a show, but there will be the week after that. Just because it's a lot of work doing a live stream. And to be able to prepare things properly and to not be rushed and improvising shows, we find that it's better for the adventure that we're trying now. So I'm going to bring my friend Arya to the conversation. Hello Arya, comment ça va?
Hello. Oui, ça va bien. Toi?
Ça va bien. So today, the subject of today is Arya.
Merci.
So I've been meaning to do this for a while. I wanted this show to be, one of the things I wanted to do with this show was introduce people to what's going on in Bali right now, the kind of music that's getting composed, that Gamelans are doing, that your generation basically is doing. And I mean, we have you here, so let's start with you and begin with talking about your work. Now, I did not know much about your work until you applied for your master's at UDM. Sera, who was helping you set up the application and everything, at some point sent me links to your music, and I have to say I was very much surprised in a good way. There's a lot of great stuff that you've written in the last couple of years, and I'm happy that we can take the time to look at it, play some excerpts. I think that's important for people so that people can hear. And I want to say that everything that we're going to be playing tonight, after the show, I'm going to put links in the comments so that people can actually go and listen to the whole thing, because obviously some of the pieces are a bit longer, so we're not necessarily going to play everything from beginning to end like on the radio. We have a couple of pieces that are a bit shorter that we're going to play, but otherwise we'll probably stick to excerpts of a couple of minutes. But of course, if people want to listen to the whole thing, we will provide links and send people in the right place to listen. Okay, so Arya, I'm curious, before we start listening to anything, and I haven't asked you this before, so I really don't know the answer. When did you start writing for Gamelan? Like, is this something that you've done recently, or when did you start? When was your
Yeah, I think I understand your question. Just for make sure, what do you mean writing? Do you mean write music or
I mean,
do oral?
compose, oral tradition. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not talking about writing physically. That's my Western bias to say.
Sorry. So first time I composed when I was in junior high school, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Between 2011 until 2000 and 2008 until 2011 in junior high school period. Yeah. So I composed for my art major. It's like because in Bali we have art major, so we study art in general, and then for the end of the semester we make a performance and something like that. So some people made a performance just for dance and music that's already composed before. So and in that time I made a small composition. Small composition for the performance. Yeah, I was trying. Oh, how don't I make a new composition for this? Like this, just for tried something like that. So yeah.
And let's say junior high in Bali, that means you were how old?
Between 14, I guess, 14 or 13. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you write a piece. I'm just trying to paint a bit of a portrait now. How old are you again?
23.
23.
23
Okay, so and at what point did you decide you wanted to go into music? I think there's a perception sometimes we think that all Balinese play music, that all Balinese can dance, and we don't necessarily take the time to realize that there is a choice of deciding to study music in Bali, right? Like you decided to do that, you decided to push that forward, and I'm curious, like when did that happen? When did you think I want to do this?
To become a musician, focus in music.
Musician, composer, like
Oh yeah. I was finding the high school after I graduate from my junior high school. I want to. I played already in SMA, like General High School.
Mm-hmm.
General High School in Denpasar. I played for studying there. So after that, I didn't thinking about I will focus in gamelan, or I will study. I will continue my study in kokar that focus in gamelan specifically. So after that, my father just asked me to came kokar in Batu Bulan, Gianyar. So yeah, kokar is school for study gamelan and dance and pedalangan, puppet. So yeah, so my father asked me to come there, and then okay, you will come there. And then after that, my father asked me, oh, do you want a play here? Maybe. Yeah, because I didn't thinking about because in Bali also people prefer to study in high school, general high school, than more specific to the major.
Okay.
material. So I think, in my opinion, so yeah, that's why I for the like follow the trend in that time. I choose general high schools. Like I don't know why. And then my father asked, why don't you go to Kokar to study gamelan? Maybe my father realized that I don't I don't I'm not good in the general material.
That's interesting, though, that it's your father that suggested that you go in the music school. Basically, I don't think that's. I mean, that's very nice. That's very lucky. How
Yeah.
I mean, how in I'm curious. We're gonna get into the music soon, but like I'm just curious. How is it perceived in Bali to decide to go in music or in dance? Like how do family take it? Like is it considered good, or like here in the West, sometimes there's a lot of people when they tell their parents that they want to go into theater, their parents are not happy. You know, or like in music, the same thing. Like for me, it wasn't my case. My parents were always very supportive of that, but I know people, I've taught students of mine whose parents, like, they don't approve that they go into the arts. I'm curious, in Bali, how is it seen? Like, obviously you specifically, like, you don't represent every Balinese, but I'm curious, like, how is it perceived?
Yeah, I just heard from my friends who study in Gamelan. So yeah,
Yeah.
they said that their family uh, doesn't agree
Oh yeah.
with their decisions.
So that's universal then.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm the opposite of them.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that before we go any further, I think that our audience deserves to hear some music. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a very short piece. The short piece is actually not entirely a composition; it's actually an arrangement that Arya that you did in 2017 for a project by John Noismanis and Gamelan Seraki, I think.
Collaboration with
Collaboration,
John Noise Money.
and with Balot, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it's actually it's called Gamelan Bach, and the whole project is an arrangement of the Art of the Fugue by John Sebastian Bach. You did an arrangement for the second canon of the Art of the Fugue, and so we are going to listen to this a little bit. So I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to mute us while we play. So that was very nice, actually. I have to be honest. I know that people might find that a bit, but I actually love that album. I'm a big Bach fan. When I was doing my composition bachelor in the university, I was studying electroacoustic, but a lot of the pieces that I composed were actually sort of trying to not imitate, but inspire myself a lot from Bach's way of composing and his style with the fugues and his way of doing the whole counterpoint and his technique and all that. So and the art of the fugue is one of my favorite pieces by his, and so I was very amused when I first discovered this little album, and I was looking at it with a bit of a raised eyebrow as that's intriguing. And ultimately I mean it's in my playlist. I have to be honest. I don't listen to it all the time, but it's in the rotation of things that I listen to every now and again in my general music playlist. So and I didn't even know that you were on this. I only learned this relatively recently when I looked at your website. So I'm curious, how did this, like, I guess maybe because you knew the people involved, but how did you get approached to do this? What was the process like?
Yeah, the first ballot and John Noisemanis Giovanni from Italia. So yeah, ballot just gave me an opportunity to arrangement the Bach pieces. So I just choose that piece because it was five people.
Yeah, I think almost they didn't do the whole art of the fugue. They chose a couple of sections, and I think each one of them is by a different arranger. No, I think, or maybe there's one or two that are the same person. But if I remember, there's a couple. There's like you say, 5 of you doing the arrangements.
Yeah, but Ballot gave the opportunity to the musician to do the arrangement.
Yeah, because we see you in the video. You're playing Kajar, I think, right? You're the
the first Bach piece. It was arrangement by Ballot, and then after that, Ballot asked to the musician to do the arrangement as well. Oh, will you interesting? Like, oh yeah, of course. Maybe I will try something because I would like to learn like how Western music, how Western music work. Of course, I don't study Western music a lot. Just like interpret it from the music itself. So
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, Bach is a good place to start understanding Western music. I think people would agree on that. I'm curious. So, did you choose this piece to arrange, or did they ask you to do this? So you chose it.
Yeah, Ballot sent us a few lists.
Okay.
Bach pieces already arrangement by John Noisemanis Giovanni from Italia. So from Bach, arranged by Giovanni, and then arranged by balinais. So
yeah.
Two level.
And did you listen to the original at some point, or I mean,
yeah.
So
Yeah. I think the original it used chromatic scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Giovanni already transferred to 7 notes.
Okay, so Giovanni had already done a portion of transcription, switching it to a 7-tone scale. And then what explain to me a bit what you did. Like you arranged it with the instruments that you wanted, or like how to divide things. I'm curious. Like, what was the?
I think Giovanni sent me just the recording, the MIDI. So after that, I listened to MIDI and then interpret it and then notate, write it down. So yeah, it's kind of like Balinese interpretation.
Yeah.
For me, like Arya interpretation.
Yeah. No, it's very. I mean, I think it's interesting. I think like just I always thought like there's something interesting in playing a bit with these kinds of concepts. The way it's something that's very different from Balinese music. If you can think of like Balinese music being very sort of melodious, like just stacking melody on top of each other. Like we like to say, like José Evangelista says, heterophonie, where it's like one melody and everything sort of grabs onto that melody. And at the other opposite, you have Bach, which is everything is like different melodies playing together, the counterpoint basically, and the fugue, with having all of these sort of layers of different that create. So it's interesting because it's a very different process, and then bringing it back into the Balinese idiom, like Balinese composer, I find is an interesting experiment. I think that's what it is. Like it's an experiment. Like we have to.
For me, it gave me a lot of inspiration to do like more than one melody and how the connection between voice 1, voice 2, and voice 3, and it's come back here, it's come back here, it's come back here. But I don't know exactly how the theory of that. Just to listen and just listen and try something. Yeah.
I think that's very interesting what you just said, and I find it interesting how like because did you at any point did you look at the actual Bach score, like at the sheet music? Because I like if Giovanni already transferred things to 7 tones, did you need to look at the music score at one point or another?
I think I asked for that for the score, but my head get confused when I see the original.
Well, that's
with chromatic. So
that's where I was going a bit, in the sense that like Western notation is not something that you are necessarily comfortable with, and so I find it interesting that you're discovering these things about the music without that knowledge, basically. And I find that very interesting to grab onto, like what stands out to you in that music. I think that leads me maybe to move away from that piece, but to go into a more broad, like I'm curious a bit, what is your perception of what is your exposure to Western music? And like obviously there's pop music everywhere that I know, but I'm curious, like Balinese, from what I know, you listen a lot to your own music. It's one of the beautiful things in Bali, is that the music is popular. Gamelan is common. Like people listen to other music as well, but gamelan is still something that people listen to. And I'm curious, at what point for you do you start discovering other musics?
Do you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you say that? I don't know. I just like the composition of gamelan, and I don't know. It's maybe can you repeat the question, please?
No, but and then maybe there's no answer to that, right? So that's fine too.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering, like, at what point do you listen to other music in your,
Mhm.
and how, and what does that, how does that influence you basically? Like, do you well, I don't know, just how do you perceive
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
gamelan, you know?
Yeah. 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 For me, I like as well sometimes.
Hmm.
Then I
You're allowed
listen.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Uh, Pop music and Western classical. Oh yeah. I listen classical music when I was at EC.
Hmm.
So I love classical music for that, and then I set up classical music for my ringtone in my handphone and my cellular as well. Just anyways, and then for the influence, I think between Balinese traditional music and Western, uh it's the same. Give me influence. I don't know how you say that.
That's nice. I like that answer. It's the same
Snow.
influence.
Okay.
No, it's yeah. Um, I wonder. I wonder a bit, like, this is completely going a little bit off topic, but I'm just curious. We've talked about this a little bit. I've asked you before, but for our listeners, like, you just mentioned that you listened to classical music
Mhm.
when you were at EC. Just for our listeners, EC is basically similar to conservatoire here, or studying at the music faculty at the undergrad level, basically. So it's the art school for music and dance in Bali and throughout Indonesia, actually. So I find it interesting that. So basically, I'm assuming you had like a Western music class in EC. Is that it?
I learn how to uh, make a Western notation, like in basic Western notation. Just that. I think
And
also
listening.
I learned a little bit about guitar, guitar for pop song, of course, and then and then uh, study a little bit about scale and mood and circle of
Interesting.
fifth,
I
something
just
like
I
that.
just find that so interesting because, like, I like having this, not having these kinds of duality, because here we have, like, in university I did a class on world music, for example. Like, everything
Mhm,
gets resumed into one class, like the
mhm,
whole. And I find it interesting that it's the other way around. Basically, you have a bunch of class on Indonesian music and Balinese music specifically, and you have
mhm,
one class that resumes everything Western music, and I find that
mhm.
I love that. I love the payback.
Okay, that's more like in general thing,
Yeah.
general knowledge.
Okay, let's move on to some other pieces. I think maybe we can look at AI, actually. To This was in, when did you, AI is from 2018,
2018 or 2017.
17, yeah. Let me just load it up in the stream so that our listeners will be able to uh, enjoy. So here. So I'm going to play the first couple of minutes. So the piece is a little bit longer, so we won't go through the whole thing, but just so that people have a bit of an idea. And so let's go into it. Just a little second. Right, that's a good place to stop. So maybe tell us a little bit about well, start by just giving us a bit of context on this piece.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, AI is inspired by Gamelan nama suara itself. So the idea of AI is to hide the base idea, the base idea, the main idea. So because I was inspired by Geostorm movie. I don't know if you watched that movie from Marvel.
Oh yeah, Geostorm. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't. No, I did not watch that movie, but I know.
Yeah. The structure and then the technique to make composition was inspired by in general is inspired by that part of movie.
Wow.
Because when the story like this, people was like intimidate with like, let's say, bad people, and then he called his brother to ask the very important information, something like that. So but his brothers it was it's like crazy people, like just act as a crazy people and then say the sentence without grammar, just like, hi, I am, oh no, yes, oh yes, oh I'm no, I don't understand, but it's like what he says. So and then but at the end he gave a cue like, oh yeah, do you remember, for example, remember your number or something. I don't remember, like, you remember your family number, something like that. And then after that, his brother didn't doesn't remember. Oh, what did my brother says? So she was like always think about the cue that his brother gave to him. So just remember, oh, maybe we should cut the number of the sequence from the video editing. So it's cut number 5, 3, something like that, and then he put it together, and then it says something. It says the
So it's
sentences.
like, it's basically encryption, basically a kind of
like
so you need the key to be able to decrypt the message that otherwise seems like it's nonsense, basically.
Just like hidden something. So that's why I call AI like A from East, like nine tone. It's just very simple. And then the composition, like when you listen for the end of the section for composition. So that's the the main idea of the melody that I make
Okay.
this,
So at the end, you mean at the end of the piece?
the end of the piece.
So let's see if we can actually get that in just to.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I play all of the, let's say, note or melody that I choose, and then I straight it in the beginning. Then I put something in between, something like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
And at the end, it's like go smaller. Yeah, that's the way how I compose that.
That's cool. And maybe let's talk a bit about the instruments actually. So because this, like for our listeners, that if you saw the picture that I was playing while I was playing the piece, I'm going to bring them back while we talk. Those are the instruments basically that the piece is playing, and they're very different than what we're used to seeing. I'm sure people will notice that. I mean, they almost have a bit of a Javanese feel to it. Like the design, it reminds a bit of a sarong, kind of.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about where do they come from? What are these instruments, and why did you choose them?
That gamelan was made by my professor at EC. His name is Pak Sabtono.
Okay.
So Pak Sabtono is from Banyumas, I guess. So yeah, his background is like he's my teacher of Javanese gamelan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it look like Javanese gamelan because I think he's come from Java.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So, did he make the instruments? Was it like?
I don't know about that. I think he asked the Pandey to make.
Yeah, of course, but it was his idea, basically. Like, I'm curious. The 9 tones. Yeah, 9 tone is a bit of a strange number. Like we've heard, like obviously 5 tone, 4 tones, 7 tone. But 9 tone is a bit odd, I find, at least to me. Maybe you're going to tell me that it's quite common. I don't know. But
I think he's based on Slendro, I guess.
Okay.
Slendro, and he put 4 in between, like this. It's between of 5. So it put like, I don't know, semitone. I don't know, semitone of Slendro. So yeah, he put the note between 5 Slendro.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Slendro or Pelok, because he made another gamelan after that.
Okay.
It has 10 notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it gamelan nama suara is the order is instrument for his gamelan.
Okay. Yeah. And you told me about this a bit earlier today, but so these instruments, they were old and not a lot of people were using them, basically, right? You took them out for this piece. Why did you choose them?
Honestly, for this piece, I didn't have a idea about the instrument and about the composition, because it for my composition class at EC. So my friends and I, because it was a group composition. Group composition. So yeah, we just didn't know what should we do for the composition. So we just like go around the museum gamelan at EC. Gamelan museum at EC. So we found, what is this instrument, and then we asked to the professor, oh, it's instrument from Pak Sabtono. So wow, it's because we tried. Wow, it's many tones here. Like it's so interesting. I don't know how to play it and what the
Interesting.
what the piece for that instrument. So yeah, just maybe we can use it. So we can make explore more the instrument.
That's interesting. Actually, Laurent in the chat room just pointed out that Pak Saptono taught Javanese gamelan to him and Sara when they were doing Damasiswa. And he said that this gamelan was mixing pelog and slendro together, was basically what he was trying to do with the 9 tones. Which makes sense because the slendro has a couple of notes that are also in pelog, so it makes sense that it doesn't give you like 10 notes, so it's kind of an in between of the two.
Maybe last time Pak Sabtono comment on my Facebook because I shared this piece on my Facebook page. So he said, "Oh yeah, it's from slendro or pelog." Yeah. He said that, and then I remember that he chose one laras for that, and then he put in between. But I don't know. Maybe we have to ask Pak Sabtono for.
Yeah, of course. That's interesting. That's a good question, actually. Let me just remove this and come here. Sarah asks a question in the chat room about this piece. Is there more instrument to that ensemble than just what we saw? So you used what was it? Four gangsa type instrument. Is there more?
I use 6. I think 6.
Okay.
Metallophones, and then I think there.
Oh yes, I look at the picture now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are two more instruments.
Okay.
For
is there other instruments? Like, is there like a rayong style instrument?
Yeah, rayong. We have to angkapan to slide ngumbang and ngisap, something like that.
Okay.
But the same pitch range.
Okay. Yeah. And interesting.
I just use some of the rayong. Yeah, some of the rayong, not full rayong.
Okay. Yeah. I see in the pictures. If I can put them back just to show quickly, I think. So we see the 6 instruments, and we can see that the 2 here are playing on the
lowest.
Yeah, we see it in the front. You can see that there's some rayong on the sarong on the stage. Yeah. Oh, interesting. What informed your decision to use those instruments? More like, why not use the full? I guess because there was only 6 of you, or no, 8 of you. I don't know.
No, because I wanted to choose one of them, because I think two of the gangsa instrument, it was the same tone, the same pitch.
Okay.
So it's like kantelan. There are 4. I just took 2, something like that.
Okay.
And then the rayong, I just took 1 angkapan, and then gangsa just 2 angkapan for the ngumbang ngisap. Also, it using ngumbang ngisap, I guess. Yeah, I checked the hertz, the frequency of the notes of the tone. So yeah, there is ngumbang ngisap as well, but very close. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's go to another piece just to keep things going, because I'd like to have people hear as much of your work as possible. So let's stay with the music for now. Let's go to actually, I want to we're gonna play On Train, which is for a Suling quartet, which is a piece that I like actually quite a bit. So I'm going to set this up and send it in. Just give me a second so that I bring it out. And so again, this piece is about 10 minutes long, so we're not going to play the whole thing, but we will play a little bit and then come back and talk about it. So that's very nice. That piece really surprised me. When I heard it, this is one of the pieces that you added to your admission submission for the masters, and you had the score too. So I looked at the score, and I was really impressed. This is a very nice. It's a very nice and complex piece, but also very accessible at the same time. It's a very good piece. I'm curious when I listen to the piece. There's some distinct, like, to me, this is obviously my reference point, but I'm hearing some very, like, for me, it reminds me a lot of some contemporary Western contemporary classical music, like some pieces for woodwinds, for example, for Western, like modern contemporary flute quartet or something like that, or like a saxophone quartet, for example. I find that very interesting. I'm curious, what's your process here? What's your inspiration? Where does this come from?
I think beside of my real reason, I think I listen a lot as well, like string quartet, like wind quartet or wind contemporary composition. But for this composition, I just imagine I don't know if you know how you say that. The bamboo that can the bamboo that we use in the ceremonial in Bali. So it has the whole something like suling. Sunari we call it sunari. So it's like the bamboo, like the big bamboo that we use in the ceremony, like especially in Pitrayatnya ceremony for the ancestor, something like that. So we use that bamboo with the hole, with some hole, and then it will be create the sound from the wind. So sometimes it exactly produce the note, or just the wind when there is no like strong wind.
Okay. That's interesting. I've never I've never seen those, so I don't have any reference point. But what you're describing is very interesting. So basically, they're long, they're large bamboo pieces.
Yeah, like the whole bamboo.
And they're left there. I mean, it's the wind is what's making the sound, basically.
Yeah.
But it's meant to make musical sound. Is that what or is that just it happens to do that? Is it supposed to make notes?
I don't know if people make an exact note, but people.
But that's the purpose. The purpose is for it to make sound. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Make sound.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Also, if you know kepindakan, it's like something like that in Bali. I don't know how you
a noise maker.
Yeah. So the purpose is make a sound.
Yeah.
But they don't know which note. It's not I don't think so. It's
no.
Instrument, like musical instrument.
But what I meant is that it's supposed to make sound, basically.
Yes.
It's not just a coincidence that it makes sounds. That's interesting. So the inspiration is basically the sounds that's making. Sometimes it's musical, sometimes it's more like wind noise, and so that's I hear it in the piece. Yeah, it makes sense actually. I see what you mean. That's interesting.
That's the idea.
And it's a piece that you did that was in 2019, so that's like your last year at EC, right?
Yeah, it performed in 2019, but I composed it 2018.
Okay.
But it performed. It was performed at it's B Bandung. It's like art and culture institute in Bandung, West Java.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's very. And so I saw. That's also interesting to me because I noticed there's sheet music in the picture. The musicians, they're looking at something. This is very unusual for Balinese music.
Yeah, because I composed it when I was in Java, in Yogyakarta. So I sent the notation to my friends in Bali because I really want to hear it. So I have a composition, and then my friends asked me to play as well. Asked me to play something for the is spectra. Is spectra. What in English spectra?
concert.
So thank you. Oh, why from say I know? Sorry. So yeah. Yeah, so that's why I asked my friends in Bali to play, and then I sent it to my friends in Bandung.
So it was a way to translate your ideas to people far away. I mean, in Bali. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. And I guess I'm curious, like when you compose this piece, how do you compose it? If you're alone, you're in Java. So like, how does it happen? How does the magic happen?
Yo, okay. I was in Yogyakarta to join the music event.
Yeah.
And it was so I decided to come to Kediri to learn English. To learn English. So it was my first time to take the train. So that's
yeah.
Yeah. That's why
on train.
I'm so excited to try take a train. And also I was alone. I didn't know how, and then I don't know, just go to the train, and then I look on Google Maps. Google Maps. So it's interesting. So in Google Map, it has sometimes 2 line, 4 line, 3 line. So I draw on my paper for the structure, and then when it has 2 lines, so just 2 instrument played, and 4 line, 4 instrument played, something like simple like that. So the structure from the rail.
Wow, that's cool actually. So like, just to make sure that people understand, like basically you were looking at the railroad itself on Google Map and drawing the lines based on how many tracks you were seeing, basically. So when there's just 2 tracks, you draw 2 lines, becomes 3 lines, 4 line. That's actually pretty cool. And so that's how you do how do you compose basically the combination of instruments. That's neat actually. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Google Map was helped me.
I'm curious. I think, and maybe there's 2 things about this piece that I think will lead us into the other piece, important piece that I want us to talk about. But the first thing I'm wondering a bit is, like, because when I'm listening to a piece like this is definitely somewhere else than what I'm used to listening in terms of Balinese music. Like, I recognize the suling, I recognize the sound, I recognize a bit like the scale basically of the suling, right? Because the notes, I mean, I get it, but the style of music is very different than what we play for now, anyways. And from what I'm used to hearing out of Bali, even if I'm listening to like more recent traditional style composition, like some of the pieces that we played recently by Pakwenten that were composed, not Pakwenten, some of the pieces that were composed in the 90s, for example, the dances that we've done, and some things like that. Like, I'm just, it's very different, and I'm curious, like, what's going on in Bali right now in terms of this type of music? Is this something that, like, I know a bit the answer because I've listened to a lot of music since, but I'm curious to have you speak a bit about that. Like, you're definitely not alone in writing this style of music, I think, right now in Bali. So I'm curious what's going on in there. Like, what's the evolution like?
Yeah, I think for the young composer, I'm not interested in new music. Like, let's say new music for gamelan. So yeah, but sometimes for the event of government, for example, PKB and Gong Kebiar, sometimes the composer still use traditional structure, traditional musical structure. So
But I'm curious, like when you say the word new gamelan is interesting. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, when you talk about new gamelan, what does that mean to you? That what is that music, and how is
Uh,
it different? Basically, I think
like new
is the
music
key.
of gamelan.
Yeah,
It just is I think it's not the terminology of the type of composition. Just like try to make a new sound or
new sound. Yeah,
new 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 technique for gamelan. For me, what I understand for that 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 sentence for describe the music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what makes you want to do that? Like for you personally in your work, like what makes you want? Why do you want to make new sounds with the gamelan? What is your
Oh yeah. Because I don't know. I honestly I feel uh, I f- uh, I feel bored with with the conventional composition, but it's not bored. It's not doesn't like, but just feel try or
it's been done basically.
explore something. Yeah, explore something for gamelan. For me, is gamelan need the new composition, new music, because for me I want gamelan step keep going. It's not just stay and play the kotekan just something like that. I want like gamelan can adapt with the situation right now. But yeah, it's what my opinion.
No, but
That's
that's
why.
very interesting. I think what I find
Mhm,
interesting for me, and what like I think for probably a lot of our members listening right now, is like that's actually a very similar sentiment. I think that if you're going to ask a contemporary classical composer, like
mhm,
why does he write music, the music that he writes, like why isn't he just writing in the style of like what we think of as classical music? And I think it would be a
mhm,
similar answer. Like it's been done. Like we need to push and explore and figure out new
yeah,
sounds. What can come out uh,
mhm,
of this kind of music? Yeah, that's very interesting. The other aspect of this piece that will lead us directly into the next one is, like you say, your inspiration with the traditional sort of ceremony influence of the bamboo, that makes sound, that influence of getting influence from the traditional aspect that is not necessarily traditional music, but it is things from the tradition. I've seen that in a couple of your pieces, like also your interests in Selonding and Gambang, for example,
mhm,
that are ensemble, like the instruments you composing for ensembles that are not the gongkebia or that are
mhm.
not the classical gamelan that we're used to. Like where does your interest for these older types of interests of instruments come from? I'm curious a bit. Like,
Yeah, like what I said before, I like traditional composition. That's like grew me up for the like
mhm,
gamelan techniques something. So yeah, for the inspiration, yeah, of course I I often uh take take the traditional technique, and then I explore it again. Because for me, if we see, if we want make the new, we have to know the older one.
mhm,
So we can say, oh, it's new of what, it's new of from this older one. So that's why I often to compare with the with older technique of gamelan and create a new one. So oh, before they play like this, but I took the idea or the as
mhm.
essential
Yeah,
idea
the essence of it.
of the technique, and then I make a new technique from that. So I can say that's new of what, because if we say new music, maybe, oh, it's not new, it's already from here. For me, it's new from what I studied before.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, actually. Actually, this is a perfect segue into the next piece I want us to listen to and talk about, because the next piece has all of that, basically, because the instrumentation is a mixture of very old, very ancient instruments and very, very new techniques, actually. We're gonna listen to separate excerpts. So we're gonna start with just the beginning of the piece, because this is a long piece. It's called O. It is the piece that you that was your finishing piece, right? At EC, I think it was your graduation composition. I don't know if that's how you say it in in Bali.
Final exam.
Your final exam piece, yeah.
Open my world. Open my real world, real problem.
So I'm just going to load it up here. The reason why I'm making this link that's interesting is I think this piece is going to be, and actually Kate has a very nice question on YouTube that's a perfect segue also. She asked if Arya can talk about the relationship that you were talking in a specific piece, and I think this is a perfect piece for that, because the instrumentation, the kulkul, that's the part that we're going to listen to first. A little bit like we had with the suling, with the bamboo shoots. The kulkul is not a musical instrument. I mean, it is a musical instrument, but it's not used for music specifically. It's basically a town bell, right? It's used in villages to call people to a meeting or a temple or something, stuff like that. Let me just explain a bit before we see it. Maybe you can explain what the kulkul is, just so people have a bit of that knowledge in their background.
Yeah, kulkul, we used to communicate with other people in Bali. So
Okay.
it has a motive as well. How the sound of kulkul. If you hear this kind of motive, that's mean, for example, the ceremonial, like God ceremonial in the temple started, or if kind of like this, the pattern is for it give us the information that there is, like, people die in that time. Yeah, something like that. If you hear,
And I think like if there's a fire also, or stuff like that, basically like things about the village life. So different patterns mean different message to be. Yeah. Okay, let me just this here. So the piece is called O, and we're going to play it. We're going to play the. We're not going to play the whole first movement, but we're going to start with the portion of the first movement, basically, and yeah, let's go with this. So I'm going to remove us again and play. Move. So that's a little excerpt of the first movement, if we can say, of O, which is only on the kulkul. The kulkul were the large wooden bells that you were hitting in the piece, and electronics, I guess, live electronics is what would be the modern way to say it, right? Can you explain us a bit why? What's your interest in that?
Oh yeah. So I'm interested in of course in electronic music. I try to mix acoustic music and electronics. So that's why I try to make a composition of that first movement. So the idea of that movement is how you create and make a pattern of the from the kukul pattern in the society. So I did an interview with Klian, the leader of the Banjar in Bali, for the pattern of the kukul. So from that I create the motif of the that section. So yeah, I also use the instrument, like the instrument vibrate. So I don't know, it call it sympathetic vibration, right?
Yeah. The vibration par sympathie, the sympathetic vibration, I guess. Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know a lot about that, but right now I
yeah. Right now you're learning a lot of things about that, huh?
Yeah, a lot of things, but I have to understand clearly as well. But so yeah, I use the.
And so maybe I'm. This is me personally, but I'm curious. What is the electronic apparatus like? What's doing the side? You have a mic, like a contact mic or something like that inside the kulkul, basically.
No, contact mic on the instrument.
Okay. Oh, on the instruments of the gamelan, like not the kulkul itself.
Yeah. If you see, I put the instrument like close of the kulkul.
That's why I get it. That's sympathetic. Yeah, okay, I get the resonance sympathetic. Yeah, so it's the vibration that the kulkul does makes vibration on the slonding instruments that are in the front, and the gamelan laras slendro, I think we see also
slendro and slonding, and for the ryong as well. So yeah, I put a contact microphone on the villa of the gamelan, and then it's vibrate, and then and that signal go to mixer, and then and make a feedback on the signal from that signal. So yeah, so people play the.
But what I mean, I guess the distortion that we hear is just the natural distortion because it's too loud, I suppose. Or did you put something specific in it? Like, is it really just the acoustics of the mixers and all that, or?
Yeah, I think just a simple one. I don't know a lot as well in that time. I just try put output to input again. Just feedback.
That's nice. That's cool, actually. That's Emily, my girlfriend. That's what she does for her music. It's a no input noise music. Is you take the input and you plug it, and you put the output and you plug it into the input, and that makes the music. So yeah, no, that's you discovered some. So that's what I thought basically. So it's the internal feedback and distortion that occurs inside the mixers, basically. Yeah. That's cool. And I like the cool quite a bit. I think they're so nice, these instruments. And I see in the chat also a couple of people saying like that they want one. And I would. I was looking at the video again earlier, preparing for this interview, and I was thinking, would be so cool to have a couple of those for Giri. A couple of kukul. When I was over the summer, when I was at Sakarjaya for something else, and they have a kukul in their rehearsal space, and I played a bit with it, and it's such a nice sound, like the nice deep wooden sound. It's so cool.
I just got kukul when I bought that kukul when I was in high school. So the kokar, near the kokar, there is a kukul maker. So every morning I used to see the kukul. So many kukul because they sell it.
Okay.
And then someday I stop in there. Oh, maybe it's interesting. Maybe I will explore something, and then I try something. Oh, it's Pelog. Oh, it's close to Slendro.
That's cool.
And then after that, I asked to my father. Oh, it's interesting. Kukul. Maybe I will use kukul for my final exam also in Kokar in high school. So I asked my father for that, and that maybe we can go there. Then also the kukul maker has the separate kukul, separate wood that he would not use it, because when Balinese or Banjar or community in Bali want to buy a kukul, they will choose like the good one, the good quality of the wood.
Yeah.
If there is a when the kukul maker make a kukul, if inside of the of the wood is not good, maybe we cannot use it. So that's why I got some of those kukul for free. Yeah, I was lucky.
So those are all your. That was actually my next question. Those are all your kukuls that are on stage. So that's nice. That's a lot. That's a nice set that you have. That's pretty cool.
The sound right now already changed from.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah.
Not that good quality of the wood.
Okay, let's keep listening a little bit. Let's go to the second movement. I'm not sure if I'm starting it exactly at the beginning, but people will get the idea. So let me just add this back and let us play a little bit more of this. So what's going on there? I actually, why in the dark? Because there's a definite choice there. Because before we see you, you're moving around, and then all of a sudden, blackout, and then the next week, why in the dark?
Why in the dark? Because you can hear or listen the sound move around you. So I put the kendangs like how you say that here, spatialisation. Spécialisation.
Spécialisation. Yeah.
So,
Physical specialization, right? Like in the space.
Oh yeah, put in the space. So yeah, I put the kendang around the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, it was okay. The composition of the contextual contextual reason of that composition. So the signal from the first movement give the nak kebakaran motif, like when there is fire
Okay.
in the house. So the motif is tung 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 tung, and then the last first movement I played that pattern, so it will give a signal of the other kulkul. Like in Bali, when one okay in Bali, Banjar has kulkul. Each Banjar has kulkul.
Yeah.
So when
context for the audience, the Banjar is basically the neighborhood kind of, like sort of the it's not necessarily the whole town. It's like a section of the town, right? Like the Banjar is like a quartier in French. We would say un quartier, basically.
More specific in the village.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when the first Banjar played the kulkul kebakaran, kulkul nak kebakaran, we call it
for fire.
Yeah, for fire. So the other Banjar will play the same motif as well. That's give the information of the people to have
to transmit the information so people can come and help, basically.
Yeah, basically. So the same thing with nak kebakaran, when there is fire, and also where is you say chaos, like like when a war, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Chaos. Yeah, that's a good word.
So yeah, the signal of the nak ngamuk, we call it like chaos, something like that. The same like
yeah
like that. But I took that pattern to make a like, how you call it, for polyrhythm. So if you heard that tung 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 tung, it's like from traditional idea, but I use it as a like new way, let's say, like different way. So yeah.
So interesting. And I noticed it's a transition, right? It goes from, like, you have the kulkul alone that does, and then you get that sound that it's the kendangs, but it's the more like wooden sound of the kendang. It's not the big sound that we're used to. So it's like, and then it transforms and it becomes the more typical kendang sound
more
that we're
musical.
And it's the link from the wooden pattern of the kulkul that transforms and that moves through the different instruments. I find that very.
And also for the contextual idea, kendang is the leader of the gamelan.
Yeah,
that's why
he gets the message first and sends it to
something like, if you say contextual, because I have a reason for the textual, like music, and contextual reason. Textual reason. So that's for contextual reason, and also why around, because I don't know exactly how you spatialisation the sound here. So I don't know before. So right now I know a little bit. Little bit. I tried last concert. So yeah, so I use I put that because in Bali there is kulkul around the society. There are a lot of kulkul. So that's why I call O as well. Like what is O, like around, and then how why don't I put like the title that give a meaning, because I want to like communicate with the musical, because kulkul is musical, communication musical. That's why I use O, like let's say ambigu for me, like ambigu for me. What is that? But when they hear the music, I hope they can understand what is going on from their situation in Bali.
Yeah, I guess that's important to say, like, because we don't necessarily hear that in the recording itself, but that idea that the sound is all around the audience during that performance, like you say, and the specialization in that kind of circle motion, giving that sense of being surrounded by the sound is interesting.
Also I made a recording before in Bali when it was when it was the nyepi pengerupukan all of the people in Bali play their kulkul and kukul in the banjar, and also they play small kulkul in their house for the ceremonial. So yeah, I got the idea from that situation as well, like so chaos.
That's like the if I what you did the celebration you're talking about. It's basically it's before or after Niepi. I'm not
before Nyepi.
Before, yeah, right. And it's basically making noise, right? It's like everyone make noise.
Yeah, if you call it making noise, but I yeah, let's say like that. I don't know.
No, how would you say it?
Yeah,
make sound, make
sound like for musical idea, like chaos, like
yeah.
Because, interesting for me.
Okay, let's keep listening, because we want to keep showing pieces. So now we're going to get to the third movement, where the other instruments come in, basically. Like, again, I just moved the cursor, so I might not be exactly at the beginning of that part, but still, people will get the idea, I think. So let's do a little bit more listening. Yes. So I'm curious, why did you choose Gambang, Slonding, and what is it called? Lara Slendro is the other ensemble?
Yeah. It's like I made that instrument, but I took the Laras Lendro as the mode. So because my idea I like the Laras of the Gender.
Mm-hmm.
Laras of the Gender. But I don't wanna play Gender with Panggul Gangsa. Also Gender has a like very tiny bila, very thin bila.
The notes, you mean?
Thin quality for the bila. So yeah, that's why I made that instrument, because I wanna explore more the Laras Lendro has the Panggul Gangsa, because I really want like very strong sound. I don't wanna uh, 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 broke, like I don't wanna break my gender.
Break your Gender, yeah. Yeah, by playing on it like a gangsa. Yeah, I get that. So just to be clear, for people, Laras last week, Laras is the scale. So basically, but you had these instruments made for this, or for you, basically.
Oh no, I made an instrument for the my gender. Oh, okay. There is a story for that instrument as well. So there is there are two reasons for those instruments. So for the first reason, I use it for my ensemble, but I don't like I don't publish it my ensemble. So I make it like gender, but with I put jublag with gender. It's like I used to gender, and then I used to gender, and then I put jublag to play the melody.
Okay.
Like, yeah, what I make a face for that ensemble as well. For the dance Nara Puja. So yeah.
Okay.
If we want to listen that
Yeah.
that ensemble, maybe we can find.
So explain to me, like, also why choose Selonding and Gambang?
I don't know. Could you open my maybe I don't know, is that possible?
Yeah. Let me just see. Where do you want me to go?
Maybe structure of oh my god 19 maybe
90.
about page 90 maybe.
Okay. I want to tell our listeners. Oh.
Okay. Keep again.
Keep going. We're at 80.
Yeah. I wrote something there, but I don't wanna. Yeah, basically I okay. This one. Okay. Basically I choose those instruments to how you say that, to just I just took one of a type like timbre of the instrument in Bali.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what Imade Bandam says in his book, Gamelan is blah 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 blah, that made from Karawang, like metal and skin and wood and bamboo. That's why I choose that those instruments to just take the essential of those of those of that definition.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I choose gambang for the bamboo, and then kulkul for the wood, and then metal for metallophone for the gangse, and metal like besi for the selonding, and then
Iron.
and skin for the kendang.
Kendang. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So give me that again. So from Madibandem, what did he say? What was the
In his book,
gamelan basically is wood, bamboo, skin.
What I mentioned is like that. That's why I want to find in my script.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to see if we, but my Indonesian is not that good, so I can't.
Yeah, the basic idea is like that.
Yeah. I get it, but that's interesting. Okay, let me just remove this here. Let's keep listening a bit more. I want people to appreciate this piece a bit more. Let's go to when the kendang come in at the end. So the fourth movement, basically. So I'm going to start us off a little bit before. Yeah, roughly here. That's good. So let me bring this back up. So the last movement, basically, everyone on stage, big finale. Let's have a listen. So I just want to say, I think the software that we're using to do this stream is doing something to the sound. It's cutting out I think it's trying to help, but it's not. We'll figure something out for the next one to try and get, because the sound was very weird because you weren't hearing the kendang properly, and I think it's because the algorithms of the software we're using is trying to make the sound better by cutting out background noises, and it's affecting. So I encourage everyone to go and listen to the piece itself to get a nice. We still got a feel for it, but I just wanted to say, like, I think that's why it felt a bit weird because of that. So maybe I don't know. Tell us a bit about that final section when everyone gets on stage.
Okay. Maybe go to my script, please.
Yeah, we'll go to your script.
Explain better. On when you see the circle.
This no, not this one.
This yeah, how I decide the tempo. Okay.
Just get got another circle.
Okay, again, maybe for the last section.
For the last
To remember. Sorry, I don't remember as well. Again, for last section.
A lot of.
Okay. Listen.
Do you want me to make it? I can make it bigger.
Oh yeah. That's how the fourth section work. So basically, of course, make a conclusion, and then for the ide pola permainan bagian kedua. So the third section and fourth section is basically is the same, like for with the first and second section, the form.
Okay.
So if you see the kulkul,
yeah,
it's similar, but for the first section I played alone, but for the third section it played by three.
Oh, okay.
But we put some put again put more note.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Basically, it's the same.
And then the fourth section is basically similar to the second section when the melody, the rhythms propagate and become more intense and all that. So that makes sense. Actually, I never.
That's the third section is the third and fourth section is more musical process.
Mm-hmm.
Musical process, like for the first and second sections more like more like what you hear in the real world, something like that. But yeah, it's like when you see in Bali, when you hear the kulkul, it sound like make a sound is similar like that. But for the third and last section is more musical.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's I mean, let's because I want to slowly start wrapping this up, but it's a really nice piece. Yeah, I have to say, like, is a very I want you to write music like this for us. I mean, like, not copy yourself, but this kind of, like, there's something very nice about your process and about what you do with pieces like this. So it's very. I strongly encourage our audience to, like I said, I'll put the links into the comments of the videos, but I would very much encourage people to go listen. Like 15-minute piece, the whole thing, and it's really worth going and listening to the whole thing. It's a very nice piece. I feel that there's a lot of stuff that we haven't touched on. I wanted to talk about some of the pieces that you wrote for dance. I think right now it would be entering into a whole other subject, and we would go way beyond our established time limit. So maybe that'll have to be a separate subject for another day. I will still, for our audience, I will still include links for a bunch of other pieces that I wanted to go through with Arya, but obviously time is what it is, and running out of time. What I would prefer to do, actually, with the time that we have for the next 10 minutes or so, is actually open it up to, if there's questions, people people in the chat rooms, if you have questions that you want to ask Arya about what you've heard so far, or about his process, I would encourage you to do so. It always takes a couple of minutes not minutes, but a couple of seconds before it gets to us in the chat room, because there's a little delay between our streaming and people viewing it. But send in questions. In the meantime, what is the future for you, Arya? What is right now? What interests you in your composition? What's next?
That's a good question. Right now, I'm still composing for my second electroacoustic piece. So I'm learning and still curious about electroacoustic. I don't know a lot, but I still try. And then maybe for the next project, I hope I can make music like what I want to learn here.
And what do you want to learn here?
Yeah, combine the electronic and gamelan.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe I will ask for the people at Giri to help, and because I don't have much experience with electronic.
That's okay.
Also, and little bit gamelan.
A little bit gamelan.
Because a lot of gamelan ensemble in Bali that I don't
actually have. Maybe I have a couple of questions coming in, but one thing that we didn't talk about, and I think it's worth talking, is okay, now you're here in Montreal, you're with us with Giri, you're doing your masters, and obviously we're very happy to have you, but in Bali you have a gamelan also, Nagi, right? So maybe you can just say a couple of words on why, like, you started this group with friends. Is it your village, or just give us a bit of a background?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started that this group in 2010. Yeah, 2010.
Wow, already just 2010.
Yeah, it started just for Rinde group.
Just for our viewers again, how old are you?
23.
So 2010, so 10 years ago already, you started a gamelan group. That's nice.
Yeah, just for three people.
It's cool.
Started 3 people, and then after that more gamelan. Like after that I have a slonding, and then the last gamelan that I have is gamelan Semarandano.
Mm-hmm. What did you start with? What did you start with in the gamelan? Was it gamelan?
In my group, no. In my group, I started with Rinde.
Rinde. Oh, okay.
Just Rinde, like 2 or 3 people. And then we play together.
And then add instrument, add ensembles, more people. That's cool. That's very nice. We'll post a link to that as well, because I think it's worth checking out. And is your group more like contemporary, if I can say, contemporary gamelan, or do you do like traditional repertoire as well, or like is it really for creation, or?
We do both. So we learn traditional, like for example gambang, like we learn gambang that there is really not a lot of people play gambang, and also we play contemporary. So our contemporary piece that we played before is Skar Krobok. So Skar Krobok is composed by my friends in California, and my teacher as well, composition. So it was like give knowledge to with us, and also I composed a little bit contemporary idea in my group before Zach Andy as well. So but after that, Zack Enikam and also Sarah came as well. And then yeah,
That's cool. I want to get to some question because some of them just came in, and that's interesting. Actually, Kate, one of our musicians, has a question that I think I was going to ask you earlier, and then we started talking about something else, and I forgot about it. But it's a very good question. How does like the population, Balinese in general, when they hear this kind of new gamelan style, what is the perception in Bali for that music?
I think there are pro and contra.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, pro and contra for the. I think in this, like, for young composer and young people in Bali is like more like sorry, young musician in Bali. I think they like new music.
Yeah, this kind of
But maybe there are a lot also written in the book that like, let's say, older people says, oh, what is that, why you make that kind of music, why you like uh, uh, break your traditional music, something like that. It's written a lot on in the books.
In the books. Yeah. In what books?
A lot, like Pak Arya Sugiharto, like, Gamelan Baru. I forgot the title. Gamelan Baru music, like right now. I forgot the title. Yeah, that he wrote a lot of like comment about new music in Bali.
What about like in the obviously the general population, but within the artistic community, like, you know, older people that are musicians, but like just from older generation, how do they feel about, like, what's the general perception? Obviously there's always exception in both sides, like, but I'm just curious.
What they think about?
Yeah, how it's perceived, like.
I think some of them right now already receive the new music, because right now a lot of people make a new music for gamelan as well in Bali. Maybe it's like slowly it will be changed the era of the music. But I think for me, the older, like, the older people, like, who said, like, to like new music for gamelan, I think is fine. I mean, it's fine. That's what their opinion. So for me and for the young composer that interested to make new music for gamelan, just make what you want, like what to hear and make composition.
I mean, for sure, this is a much larger subject and something that we should probably dedicate a show just on that topic of new music and new trends in Bali. I think like there's definitely a lot to talk about that, and with other people as well, I think. But
but the idea is always they are pro and contra about that.
There's both, yeah. Let's go to another question here. I have from Adam. Who asks that you seem to think a lot in terms of polyrhythm, and we've seen this ourselves in the group, because one of the piece that you've started composing with us just recently has a lot of these kinds of polyrhythms and rhythms that are on top of each other. So the question is, where does that influence come from? Where do you get that? Because that's very, like, Balinese has a lot of complex rhythm, but it's definitely not polyrhythmic. Like, it tends to follow a single rhythm. So I'm curious, where does that influence come from?
Yeah, I think right now Balinese gamelan use polyrhythm a lot for the music.
And
I played like contemporary gamelan as well before in Bali. For example, like my friends at EC, like I play for for his piece. So he used a lot of polyrhythm. So I I learned from that. And also for me, what in my opinion right now, in gamelan there is polyrhythm, but we don't see it for in my opinion. Because I played gambang, especially in gambang kerobokan. There is feel like a polyrhythm, like a like three and four, three like three and three four. So that's what my reason to study in Montreal as well. Like,
It's true that when you listen to some older Balinese, like even like in Slunding a little bit, but Gambang, you're right. Like I'm not an expert, far from it, but like what the links that you've sent me or stuff that I've heard, it's true that there's that kind of rhythmic tension that is different from, let's say, Gongkebiar or in some of these older forms. There's a bit more of these weird meters going on. Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
yeah.
And I guess. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I also listen a lot of like Senakis music, and also I studied composition with my friend in California, and also with oh yeah with I I played the piece of and this chordis that use polyrhythm as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I learned a lot from him, polyrhythm, and how to make rhythm as well. So I learned how is called that, I forgot, it was a long time ago. Jatis rhythm from India or from where, I don't remember. It's like called Jatis. So I use that in my composition as well, in my O composition. It's like the influence, but I don't say it as a Jatis rhythm, because I don't know exactly what is that, but the idea what I learned from that.
Yeah.
So
I guess I guess it's important. I mean, like that. This goes back to what we were just saying. Like there's a whole show to be done on this, but like you're not the first generation of composers to try these kinds of new approach. Like we can think of the generation before you, with people like Dewa Lit and other people who started playing with these kinds of notions as well. So there is an exposition, like from you to these kinds of influence. I think is what you were saying a bit earlier. Like
yeah, about the term of polyrhythm, I don't know as well exactly, because it's my what I think about polyrhythm is like this, as the musical, but not as the theoretical. If people say what is polyrhythm here, when people say here what is polyrhythm, I will be like, oh, is that correct or not? But for me, like, why I came here, I I want to receive a lot of like idea or musical and terminology, and how people here analyze their music, and then I use that idea to realize what happened in my music, and then I find the idea in my in gamelan, or the terminology that used in gamelan. For example, like polyrhythm, there is like we call it chading in Bali. So chading is kind of polyrhythm, but not exactly the same. But the idea is polyrhythm, I guess.
yeah, I like that. No, it's okay. There's one more question. Okay, maybe we can end on this question, actually, because it's a bit of a reflective question. But Sarah asks, we spent quite a bit of time talking about O, because it's one of your more recent and a hefty piece. But like, what do you think about like the electronics that you use in O? What, now that you've started studying a bit more, with electroacoustics and all that, like what is your impression? Like, just a fair question, what do you think now of O, that you've learned a bit more about electronic techniques, composition techniques?
Oh yeah.
How do you look back at the piece?
Yeah. Again, I do know. I know more than before electronic, but still still new in electronic music. But yeah, what I want uh, from to improve that composition, I want to process again the signal of sympathetic vibration,
Hmm.
and then and also make it. Oh yeah. Sorry, I just remember something. Before, when I was making that music, I want to put the instrument like cool and the other instrument farther. So
Hmm.
it's like the effect is more like farther. So sorry, I read a book like physics book in Indonesia that says when the I think it says, I don't know, might be correct if I'm wrong, when the degree, how you said it, the degree warmer, the speed of sound will be faster.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
but
correct. And if it's
yeah,
colder, it'll be slower.
slower. So in that time, I want to make the room warmer, but I don't know how to calculate and how to say that, like, for the real answer. That's why I don't want to say I
Yeah,
don't want to say that in my script. So right now I learn about that.
yeah, that's true. Acoustic musicale, huh?
Yeah, just like,
uh,
yeah,
okay.
about the signal, about the specialization of the instrument.
But
So you put
I have to
instrument.
say, yeah, for real, like the technique that you used in the piece with the basically the no input feedback is a
Mhm.
very good technique. There are people like me who did years of university in electroacoustics, and like Emily, who did a master in electroacoustics and everything. And eventually, we take a mixer and we plug a couple of wires together, and we prefer that to everything that we've learned before and all the sophisticated tools and plugins. So I have to say, like, don't forget what you did there, because that's a very useful
Yeah, yeah,
that's a very useful
yeah,
technique.
yeah. I should mention as well. Jonathan Adams also helped
Yeah.
me to understand, and yeah, he was playing the electronic live.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very help.
Okay. Well, that's very good. We're at 2 hours 8 minutes. I always say that I always start these thinking, oh, we're going to do a shorter show today. We want to make 2 hours is a bit long, and we always end up doing 2 hours anyway. So we'll just have to get used to that now. So to finish us off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play us off instead of doing our usual little outro. I'm going to play I'm going to let one of your more recent piece play. This is Mitir for Gamelan Salonding, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so I'm just going to let that play us out, and that will be the end of the show. Thank you very much, Arya, for your time and for your music. It's uh, it's a lot of fun talking with you and listening and hearing and learning more about your process and how you come up with these ideas that we like to play so much in our group now. So
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I learned a lot as well. Thank
All right.
you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, in our audience as well. So, like I said at the beginning, there won't be an episode next week. There will be one in 2 weeks from now. We will announce probably beginning of next week what that subject will be, and invite you all again to join us in our live stream. And I wish you a good week and enjoy the music, please.